We are ready to start.
Thomas on Red Radio.
For the students, by the students.
Broadcasting live 24/7.
Good afternoon, radio community. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon for our fourth edition of our exclusive with Mr. Joseph Gerassi. We're streaming live on redradio.co.za, our app, and on YouTube. We are ready to delve straight into your questions, so you can keep sending those through to us on our platforms, and we will get through to those as quickly as we can. Following that, Taki and myself are going to be teaming up with the Social and Civic Awareness Committee, and we're going to be having an interesting interview with Robin Galloway Crowley and the Unfiltered Youth team. So if you want to stay around for a really thought-provoking interview, that is going to be incredible. And this interview with Mr. Gerassi will be replayed at 7 o'clock this evening. We are aware that last time there were some technical issues, but it will all be up. Trust me, it's sorted. Thanks for listening to Red Radio. We've got you covered for the next 3 hours. Make sure you stay for 6 o'clock as well with DJ Pyro.
Streaming live across the world
on Red Radio.
If you want to improve your child's results and give them their confidence back, there's no better way than with a one-on-one tutor. Teach Me Too has hundreds of South Africa's top university students ready to tutor your child with South Africa's leading tutors from grade 1 to 12. Tutors can teach online or come to your house. Teach Me Too is trusted by over 20,000 families. Radio parents can receive a free hour of tutoring with Teach to Me by SMSing RedHill to 31777. SMS RedHill to 31777 or visit teachtome.co.za to find out more.
Red Radio News.
For the students, by the students.
Broadcasting live 24/7. Good afternoon, I'm Genevieve Blichner with your headlines for the hour. Minneapolis police station set ablaze, Eastern Cape schools are not ready to open, and Twitter hides Trump's tweets for glorifying violence. All this and more at 4:30. I'm Genevieve Blichner with Studio Red News.
Red Radio News.
For the students, by the students. Live on Red Radio with your distance learning exclusive with Mr. Joseph Gerassi.
And we are live. Thank you so much for joining us. Hi, Mr. Gerassi.
Hello, Thomas. How are you?
I'm well, and yourself?
Yeah, after this week, I'm not quite so sure how well I am. I'm just lucky to be standing.
That's good. At least you're standing with us today.
There we go.
I remember about 2 years ago, the timetable had changed, and you said to us, and lots of students were saying to you, no, sir, why is the timetable changing? And you said, no, we need to be able to be adaptable, and we need to, learn to work with new situations. And I think during this time and with next week especially, we're going to be adapting more than we ever have.
There's no doubt about it, Thomas. You're absolutely correct. And I think possibly, over the last 5 years, having to change things so regularly, it's proven to be true, because the one thing that I haven't got complaints about is the new changes of the timetable and the new changes of the day. And while some people, are asking questions about, for example, why can't the matrics be back every day? Shouldn't they be doing that? Nobody's really complained about how we're bringing people back. They're adapting, they're moving. There's a lot of questions that people still want answered, and I'm sure we're going to go through those today. And today I'm going to try and make my answers shorter, because I know there's quite a few questions.
So I just wanted to start with what can the students expect initially when they get back to school, right from the early learning center to the high school?
Okay, so later on today, I have put together probably videos that are slightly too long. If they get a bit boring, just skip along. But they will go out on Google Classroom. It's got me talking to the students, to grade 7s and 9s, and then to grade 10s and 11s and 12s as the high school head, together with information, because that will tell you about your timetables and how things will change. I suppose the first thing that's going to be different for students coming back, and I started to speak at the beginning about the concept that I wrote about in my newsletter, and that is about Ubuntu. But the first thing that we're going to really have to understand that is the world cannot be, if we're going to make it work at Radio, it cannot be about I and me. It's got to be about, the community, about them and they and everybody else. We have to get rid of this kind of idea that I am the most important person and that things need to work the way I would like it to work. And it still is incredible, not the majority, how a couple of students and a couple of parents still want things to go their way. And unfortunately, it just can't happen that way. And we're going to have to get used to that. We're going into a new world that if we don't actually work together as a team, even if we don't like it, it's going to be problematic. So on day one, you're going to arrive to school, you're going to get out of your car or your parents' car, and you're going to be having to understand this whole idea of social distancing. And the first thing people are going to want to do, because it's natural for us, is we're going to want to hug each other, welcome each other back. We haven't seen each other in 3 months, and people are going to say, no, don't do that. Please, would you stand in the markers? And, as I've been going through this, it's like another world. I never thought I'd be telling people to do this, but it's the reality. So when you arrive to school, from the moment you arrive in, you're going to have to know that things are different, okay? 1 meter apart, you're going to have to stand in different areas. The other thing we're going to have to get used to is we can't just run on this notion that, time doesn't work for everybody in the same way. I'll get to school when I want to get to, and I'll arrive when I want to get to. Those kind of things are going to cause confusion. You're going to know that you have an allotted time to be at school, say between 7:30 and 8 o'clock. You have to make sure that your parents get you to school at those times, because if you come later, a whole new group of students are going to be coming onto campus, and you're going to make it difficult for everyone. So that's what you're going to have to do. Then you're going to have to get used to your hands being sanitized, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9 times, 10 times a day. It's just what's going to happen as you get into school. Every classroom you go into, your hands will be sanitized by the teacher waiting to say hello to you. Let's sanitize. Before you go to break, you're going to have to sanitize. Those kind of things are going to be different. Little kids are going to find it difficult because they're going to have to come to school with masks. And people want to know, it's not comfortable, it's not nice. As Red Hill, I'd love to say don't have the masks on, but it's mandated by government. So all of a sudden, we're going to be taking a Red Hill school that allows students to do more or less what they want, have the freedom to come and go as they please. We've always been a school like that. And all of a sudden, it's going to, in certain ways, resemble, almost like a military base. Instead of what we would love to be as a school. But if we don't work in terms of precision and work according to the rules and the regulations, within 3 or 4 weeks, we'll be closing the school again. And none of us want that. So we're going to have to learn that when we socialize, we're going to be sitting down at break. We're going to be sitting on the dots that are on the field, because there's a whole lot of dots on the field now. And that will make sure that we're apart from one another, and we will just talk to one another instead of hugging each other and doing those kind of things. We're going to get used to the fact that we're not going to have a whole lot of kids on campus at the same time. At times, it's going to look like a little bit of a ghost town because of the limited amount of students that are on campus. We're going to have to learn to become incredibly courteous to one another. We're going to have to look out for when people are walking, not to bump into people. Those things have to be done. But that doesn't mean that within the classroom, those special relationships between our teachers and our students are not going to continue. Those special relationships will continue. We will, I've spoken a lot about kindness and patience and care. These are the things that are going to be, that we're going to have to concentrate on more than we ever have before. So we will operate more in terms of a military style, in terms of our operations, but we'll become even kinder and more patient and more loving to each other as human beings on our campus.
So you said there's going to be dots on the field, and I can see that working for high school, but for prep school, where, the idea is to run around and play, is that going to be controlled? Are teachers going to be enforcing that students are not on top of each other and playing physically,
Yeah, so teachers will definitely play a large part in monitoring the social distancing. Also, our sports staff have been fully trained to become almost health and safety officers. They will be around all the time to make sure that students adhere to what needs to take place in terms of social distancing. That's really, really important. So all of those plans are in place. And again, I'm just asking people to listen to those rules and regulations. They're not what we want, they are what we have to have.
Okay, so I wanted to start with asking about the Sunny Tunnel. Obviously, that was promoted in the video that was sent out to the parents. Why was the decision made to remove the tunnel?
Okay, so when you are trying to organize a return to school, I was asked on a radio station yesterday, are you ready? I said, it took us 6 weeks to get ready. We knew as soon as the lockdown happened that we were coming back to school and that we'd have to prepare. Now, obviously, when you're preparing for everything that could happen, right? Right from the absolute sanitization or the sanitizing of the entire campus, of the deep clean that took place, all the way through to the masks. And one of the areas was also the Sunny tunnels. Now, the people that do a lot of, that work with us as our partners, and they had the Sunny tunnels and they said, would you like to try them? And we said, sure, that would be great. But we would need to make sure that we had all of the certification to make sure that the chemicals that were being used were 100% safe. However, you know what parents are like in terms of a crisis, and absolutely I'd be the same way. As we got closer to the deadline, they wanted to know what was going to happen. We didn't want to send out tons of information, so we added in that we would have the Sunny tunnels. But by the time we got to a week before we were going to be using them, we had still not got the certification to show that the chemicals that were being used in the Sunny tunnel had been 100% examined and had been peer reviewed and had been used before in terms of making sure that they were 100% safe for human beings. Okay. I see Josh is very excited about something that's happening. I hope it's good news, Josh. I'm just watching him on my screen. So we also then had parents who contacted us with their concerns. Now, what did we do immediately when that happened? Is we immediately held discussions with some with parents of ours, especially parents that are involved in the world of medicine, right? And we had probably a whole lot of meets with the people that had come up with the different chemicals. We spoke to them. There were incredible conversations that we had. When we came to the end of it, we as a school decided that while we did not feel that there would be damage done to students or that there would be harm, we could not prove 100% without any issue that this would be the case. And we were not going to risk anybody getting an asthma or a skin allergy because of the chemicals. And we just thought that this was a third or a fourth layer on what we were doing. And we decided to actually pull the tunnels until there was more research on the safety of these tunnels.
And speaking to the initial layers of protection, the chemicals that will be used to be cleaning the classroom and hand sanitizer, I assume that we can be rest assured that those have been tested and those are 100% safe.
Yeah. So the strong chemicals that were used approximately 2 weeks ago. That is when you do a deep cleanse. Now, yes, those are very strong chemicals because the point of that is to make sure that you kill off any virus or bacteria in your school. So they are strong, but that's why we did it 2 weeks ago before any students were on campus. The cleaning material that is being used at the moment is obviously tested, and it will only be put on surfaces. And remember, it will be done early on. By the time students come in, there won't be any of that liquid anywhere on any of the on the surfaces, and students will be 100% safe. We are in no doubt about that.
Okay. Moving on now, we've gotten so many requests for this, but I assume, from what I have read, the decision has been taken to ask students to wear uniform. However, many parents have said that they are worried because obviously it's in a time of financial crisis for many parents, that if would you be able to appeal a decision for civvies to be worn because parents may not be able to go to McCulloch and Bothwell to purchase schooling attire and so forth?
Okay, so we looked at that very carefully, and what we have given into is we're going to allow students to wear tracksuits. So they can wear the school tracksuit, no problem with that. Through the RPA is also going to open up the secondhand store, so that if there are parents who have come upon difficult times or feel that the uniforms are really expensive, they will be able to go in there and get uniforms from the secondhand store. They are also working on something where parents can give in uniforms that are too small for their child and swap them for uniforms that would fit their child at this particular stage. So we're not doing away with uniform. We're still a school. We still need to act as a school, but tracksuits will be allowed. And yeah, our uniform shop will be open as well.
Okay, so then I think we can encourage parents, if you do have time, to go through your cupboards and see what you can get through to the secondhand shop on Monday.
Absolutely. Just wait for Nikki Vessels. She's the chair of the RPA. She will send out information to let parents know exactly how they can do that.
Okay, so in the Early Learning Center, face shields are going to be used as opposed to masks. If I, for example, in high school want to wear a face shield, am I allowed to do so? And if so, must I still wear a mask above and beyond that?
Okay, so everything we've done again is according to the protocols. The protocols that have been put out by government is that when you are in a public place, and a school is a public place, you have to wear a mask. So even the younger kids, when they come to school, they will have to wear a mask until they get into the Early Learning Center. And then in the Early Learning Center, they will be given their face screens, which are attached to little hats, because they'll also spend a lot of time outside in the sun, so they'll be having those. Now, you can bring anything to school that you want, but you have to arrive to school in a mask.
Okay.
We don't have a choice on that. But when you get into the classroom, you can then remove the mask and you can put, the screen, the face screen on and use that. As soon as you go outside again, you need to put the mask back on again. So yeah, for younger children, the only thing as the school, we had to make a decision. We couldn't, we didn't have time to ask every single parent what they wanted. So every child will get 2 masks when they arrive to school. Should you want to wear any other or get any other, PPEs, you can absolutely do that, but parents would have to buy that themselves.
Okay, cool. Another question coming in, I would like to know if parents can walk junior prep children into their classes as well as collect them from the classes.
Okay, so there is no discussion over that. You may absolutely not bring your child into the classrooms. You have to understand, we have even asked our external sports teachers, external music teachers, external anybody that used to work at the school that comes in and out, they cannot come onto the campus. You cannot keep an area safe if you're allowing people in and out whenever they want to arrive. So no, please understand, for parents who would like to do that, if they come onto the campus, every extra person coming on is a potential bringing on is potentially bringing the virus onto the campus. In the Early Learning Center, definitely the teachers will be waiting at the gates. They will take the children at the gates. And if your child is really scared or etc., a teacher or a caregiver will remain behind and try and get your child ready to be able to come back into the school.
So I'm of the understanding that temperature will be taken as you get out the car.
So as you get out the car and you get to the gate, so as you get out the car, you stand in the lines. There's tape on the floor, 1.5 meters apart. You stand in the line as the person in front of you moves, so the whole line moves forward. When you get to the gate, your temperature is taken. If your temperature is seen to be, that you have a temperature and that we're concerned, we move you out of the line, we take your temperature again. But should we feel that, it is, that you have a temperature, then we will send you home. Now, mainly for parents, again, the problem with the protocols, they state that if you are sent home because you've got a high temperature, etc., you will have to then wait until you get a test done to show that you don't have the virus. That means these can take up to 2 weeks. Our strong suggestion, especially if you're coming to school on a Monday and you're only coming again on a Thursday, if your child wakes up and you've taken their temperature and the temperature is high or they're not feeling well, stay at home for that one day. Because by the next day, if you're feeling better again and you come to school and you don't have a high temperature, you won't have to go into quarantine. So we are asking parents to do the necessary temperature taking in the mornings before we even have to do that.
So when the school does take the temperature, will parents be asked to wait behind in case the children or child has a high temperature?
Okay, so again, that's a difficult one because there's not always that much parking space. For parents who are dropping off in the high school, there is parking space at the bottom down by the AstroTurf. You could hang around if you wanted to, but if you have taken your child's temperature and their temperature is low, there shouldn't be a case that you have to hang around. If you're a little bit worried and your kid's not feeling too well and you've taken the chance of bringing them to school, then yes, hang around until your child's in school.
Okay. And then if a parent has a child that has two different drop-off times, can you drop off both kids together?
So that was all in our documentation. Siblings can absolutely come at the same time. So Thomas, if you and I were siblings and I started at 7:30 and you started at 8:30, you would be allowed to arrive at 7:30 with me. If you're in the high school, you'd be able to go to Len Miller and you'd be able to sit there and do homework until your class starts. I would then, because I finished early, if I was in grade 7 or 8, I could then go to Len Miller and do some homework and wait for you to finish. So we could then be dropped at the same time and collected at the same time. But no one else will be given that benefit. If you are, if it's just you and you're a single kid, you cannot arrive whenever you want. You have to arrive at your allocated time. And please, to all the parents, it doesn't matter where you live. If you've got a kindergarten kid and you live right outside Summit, you have to take your child to the pre-prep entrance. It's really important to go in the entrance that you've been allocated.
A question coming in from Ms. Moilwa. Please ask Mr. Gerassi how parents are to pick up work for children not coming to school, given that no parents are allowed on campus. I assume this is all going to be done online, so they would receive it electronically.
Okay, so the only work that we've said, the kids from grade 1 upwards, all right, all of their work is being done online and it's being given online. So that question I would imagine is for if you are in KG1, 2, or grade 0, you have the option of getting any work that's being sent home online, or after the last group has come into the school, you would then be able to arrive to the Early Learning Center and the pack that is waiting for you will then be given to you. You'll be able to either come in or the receptionist will bring it to you at the gate.
Okay, so moving on to online learning, obviously students and parents were given the option between coming back to school and online learning. Will fee-paying parents, as a fee-paying parent, will our children receive adequate support and content from online learning?
Okay, so now we're talking about all the different grades. Let me talk quickly about the high school. If you're coming into school, we work on a program that is either called a flipped learning model. So I'll give you an example of a flipped learning model. On Monday, I get work sent to me. I work through that on a Monday. I do all the videos. I watch the videos. I do the readings. I do whatever homework is needed. And then I come to school on a Tuesday, and my teacher then goes through all of that work with me and also explains difficult concepts to me. If I'm in grade 11 and 12, I then come to school on a Wednesday and I write assessments. On a Thursday, I stay at home. I do more homework. I do work that's been given to me online. And then on a Friday, I come to school and I work through it with my teacher in the class. And then on a Saturday morning, I might come in for assessments. If I am in prep school, then yes, you do the same type of thing. You work on that flipped learning model where you get work to do at home. You then come into school, you go through it. On a Wednesday, you do online work in terms of your arts and culture. Again, all explained, I think, quite clearly in the document that we've been given. And then obviously in kindergarten 1, 2, and 3, you have the option of coming to school every single day. So yes, we are 100% sure that you will be given all the work that is required. Please remember again, for kindergarten, KG 1, 2, and 3, unless you have a comorbidity that really precludes you from being at school, we are not looking at giving at kind of any rebates or refunds, because you have the ability now to come to school. Okay, so this is a decision that you as a parent has to make. You have the ability to come to school, you can come to school. If you choose to stay at home and be online, we will do the best that we can for you. If you have a comorbidity that precludes you from coming to school because you have a bad asthma, etc., please be in touch with us and we will see what we can do for you.
Okay, so a question that's coming in now: what will grade? It says specifically grade 10s here, but I'm sure it applies to many other grades. Do on a Wednesday.
So grade 10s on a Wednesday, they will be able to, it's a home, okay, up until grade 6, there is a program online for you, which is your arts and culture program. So you will be able to do all your arts and culture programs on a Wednesday online, because you won't do that on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Those days will be mainly to do with numeracy and literacy. In 7 to 10, that will be your opportunity again to work at home, but it will also be your opportunity to get in touch with teachers. Here again, we're putting that onus onto you to be able to contact teachers, to ask them when they have moments where they are free, so that you can then set up a Zoom or a Google Hangouts and that you can meet with your teacher.
We're joined by Mr. Gerassi live in studio. In our virtual studio, the amount of, overwhelming supportive feedback is just flying in. I just want to read some of them. The values, ethos, and integrity of the Red Hill School heads and executive is commendable. The teachers in the school have gone above and beyond to ensure a smooth online learning environment for the children. Mr. Gerassi embodies the true values of a genuine leadership in these trying times. He has gone above and beyond to try and stay calm. It's just, there's so much to read. I've got something that I'm going to play for you after news, but please keep sending in your questions to us. We are getting through them as best as we can. Right now, though, we're going to go into our news with Genevieve Bluchnout.
Red Radio.
Every year, thousands of TEDx events are held in over 100 countries around the world. In theatres, in universities, and even prisons, there is truly no shortage of ideas to share, and this year, TEDx comes to the Red Hill School community and beyond. Hi, my name is Wangari Mbuthia, and I'm the Deputy Head Girl at Red Hill School. Earlier this year, I applied for and received a license to host a TEDx event at Red Hill School. I am excited to announce that TEDx Radio School will now take place entirely online on the 20th of June. TEDx is a program of local, independently organized events that bring people together all around the world to share a TED-like experience. These talks celebrate innovation and inspire deep discussion and connection amongst their audience. This year, our TEDx event will share ideas about the past, present, and future, with our theme for the day, the beauty of the unknown. This event intends to highlight the beauty in discovery and the journeys taken to get there. It will be a day filled with curiosity, inspiration, and innovation, and carefully woven into our program of speakers will be performers and artists sharing their work with the online world. It will truly be an engaging day for all. For more details, visit tedxredhillschool.com.
Red Radio News.
For the students, by the students.
Broadcasting live 24/7. Good afternoon, I'm Genevieve Bluchnout with Studio Red News. In your top story this hour, Minneapolis police station set ablaze. On the third night of protesting over the death of George Floyd, protesters set one of the Minneapolis police stations ablaze. George Floyd was a person of color that was a victim of police brutality as a police officer stood on his neck when he repeatedly said he could not breathe. George's family, the general public, and the mayor of Minneapolis have demanded that the 4 police officers implicated with his death face murder charges. On Thursday, protesters gathered outside the police department, which is near where Mr. Floyd died, and the cordon around the police station was eventually breached by protesters who set fire to it in 2 nearby buildings as the officer withdrew, states BBC News. Meanwhile, in South Africa, Eastern Cape schools are not ready to reopen. 5,000 Eastern Cape schools say they will not be ready for the reopen on Monday because they have not received adequate personal protective equipment, states News 24. The South African Human Rights Commission released in a press statement on Thursday that they had written to Motshekga to persuade her to not reopen schools. The Eastern Cape National SGBs, or Small Business Guarantee chairperson, said many schools in around areas like Butterworth and former Transkei have no personal protective equipment. I don't agree with children going back to school because we are not happy about the safety measures. No schools have been sanitized and received protective equipment in and around Craddock as well. No consultation between the SGB and the principals about hiring of people to assist at schools to help kids. Moving further abroad, Twitter hides Trump's tweets for glorifying violence. Trump tweets about the city Minneapolis, which has seen protesters going over consecutive nights over the death of aforementioned George Floyd. The president said, "Send in the National Guard," and followed that up with a warning that when the looting starts, the shooting starts. The second tweet he made was hidden by Twitter for glorifying violence. In your weather today, Gauteng is a bit cold with a high of 20 degrees and a low of 11. Pretoria is slightly warmer with a high of 21 degrees and a low of 12. In your coronavirus update, South Africa is at 13,033 active cases nationally, with 14,370 recoveries. Global active cases sitting at 2,970,821 cases, with 2,606,870 recoveries worldwide. That's all for the news this hour. More with Alex Osterberger next hour on Tucky's show. I'm Genevieve Blichnout signing off.
Red Radio News.
For the students, by the students. In the mix with
Josh Lawrence.
Yes, tonight at 6 p.m. you can catch Red Radio's very own DJ Pyro in for a live mix.
Red Radio.
Okay, so the questions keep flooding in, but I thought right now I could do a bit of a quick fire because I know some of these have been answered previously. A parent asking if there are going to be any discount or reduction to school fees.
Okay, so once again, as I said, we've answered that question. We made it very clear that it takes time to see if there has been any savings at the school, and we promised the school community that we would absolutely get back to them at the end of July, depending on if we've made any savings. I do want parents to understand out there that 75% of our budget goes to paying teachers. I also want to make it mentioned that our teaching staff, and I read an article today talking about it as well, our teaching staff have had no break since the December holidays. They have worked 24/7. They were thrown into online learning. I have to just a shout out to my staff and to all the teachers out there. I've never seen staff work as hard as they have to ensure that online learning programs are being are out there, that they're getting ready to come back to school. There are times when I don't know how our staff continue to actually function. So there is no way that I'm looking at this moment at reducing my staff's salaries. And there are a whole lot of other things that are costing money. But we will absolutely look at doing whatever kind of rebates we can at the end of July. Once again, as I've said in every letter, if there are parents who can show that because of the coronavirus, they have lost income, we have made a plan to help those parents out, and they must get hold of Mr. Groenewald, who is our finance manager, and he will be able to discuss that with you.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of thanks to go out to the teachers. A parent coming in saying, "Dear Radio teachers, thank you so much for your effort and what you have gone through to ensure that our children have felt safe and engaged through the lockdown. They have learnt new skills and contributed to learn more, and in this difficult time, you have really taken it on. Please take some time to reflect on what changes have had to be made, and we have all responded. Thank you very much. So, Mr. Gerassi, I wanted to move on to the matrics. They are wanting to know, let me pull up the exact question. Due to the fact matrics lost out on April's intensive week, obviously due to lockdown, will the matrics be having an intensive week later at some point?
Okay, so yesterday I went on with all the matric representatives. We had a really good Zoom meeting, and we had a really good discussion there. And they will be feeding back a lot of the answers to the matric groups, which is really exciting. So in answering those questions, you've got to understand, and the weeks that they have that are extensive weeks were just weeks where they were at school more than the rest of the students, right? Those weeks are going to continue. So when we go into that week in August, they will continue to have that week. It just means because we've lost time, other students will be at school as well. But matric students should have absolutely no anxiety whatsoever in terms of finishing curriculum, in terms of making sure that they are fully prepared for whatever exams happen. I don't think anybody's going to be going on holiday in August. Our teachers are available not only in August, but also in the 2-week break that they're having now, so that they're there to assist students. And if we have to come back during 1 or 2 weeks in August, we will do that. But the school community, I think, have learned to trust RedHill with education. Our results have been outstanding, and there is nothing, for anyone to feel that they will not be exactly the same this particular year.
So yeah, the matrics are flooding through with questions. Also wanting to know if they'll be able to work in the art studio over the weekends. I assume not.
So yeah, and let me explain why. No student can be on a campus without there being a teacher there to ensure that social distancing takes place. So yes, if there is a teacher who is willing to be on the campus at a particular time on the weekend to ensure that there's social distancing, yes, we will make a plan for that.
Okay. Also for 10, 11, and 12 students, I assume in your communication that's going to be coming out later this evening, there will be clarification around 8th subjects.
So the 8 subjects will continue in the afternoons as they had done before. They will either be online or at school. I have to remember now, actually, in fact, I think we've left it on school now for the kids that are coming into school. For those that are not coming to school, they would then work with their teachers online, but 8 subjects will continue. All the new timetables have been put into the documentation that will come out.
Okay, moving along, will all teachers be tested for the virus before return on Monday? Or if a teacher is suspected of having coronavirus, will they also be required to get a test?
So in the same way as not every child was required to do a test to come into the school, not every teacher has had to do a test. We have relied on honesty and integrity. Every child had to fill in. Parents know they had to fill in where they had they been in contact with anyone with the virus. Our teachers have been asked and have been given an extensive medical form to fill in, where they have told us. And they've given us all the information. Any of our teachers who in any way, that we've seen might not be able to come onto the campus, we have asked for doctor certificates to make sure that they can come on the campus. And there will be a couple of teachers that unfortunately, due to no fault of their own, will not be able to come onto the campus because either they have a comorbidity and cannot be and are not allowed onto the campus. And we've had to make changes around that. And Thomas, what I need to say to the public out there, to the RedHill community, you know what? When you arrive to school on Monday, is everything going to work smoothly? No. Are you going to arrive to all your classes? Are there not going to be timetable clashes? Are you going to be waiting in a line longer than you thought you might have? There are going to be a whole lot of issues. Are parents going to be upset when they arrive to school? Yeah, they're going to be upset because something will take longer than they expected. In my videos out to students today, you will see I talk a lot about 2 important things. I talk about being honest and being caring. Again, in order for us to get through this, we need to be honest with the school. Parents need to be honest. We need to know if children are ill. But more importantly, we need to be kind and we need to be understanding of one another. Please understand that for parents, that children out there take their response from their parents. They will be hyper anxious if their parents are hyper anxious. They will become rude and insolent if parents are rude and insolent. Um, this is a time of learning from adults and learning how to do things from our adults. And when you come in and the guards ask you to move somewhere or they ask you to do something, please don't get upset with them. Please at all times understand that our guards are putting their lives at risk and their health at risk. We need to be kind to them because they have a job that they have to do. When our cleaners ask you not to be in classrooms at break because they're coming in to clean, don't give them a hard time. When there are things that happen with the school, don't automatically imagine that the school has done something wrong. Rather ask a question and ask us to look into it. The nicer you ask the questions, the more time we will take to try and solve the situation. And most importantly, if you don't get an answer that you like, accept that we can't give everybody what they want. We are doing our best at a very difficult time. And to those parents who have acknowledged it and have sent in those incredible letters that I've read and that I've seen you read out, you do not understand how much we as a school, specifically my teaching staff, appreciate that one liner, even just to say, thank you so much for giving of your time, for being there to help my kid, for caring about my child. A boost like that, gets our teachers up and motivated. And if for those parents who ask, what can we do for the school is dealing with the operations of the school. Just be supportive of the teaching staff, and just be kind and loving in the way you deal with people.
So speaking of the teacher and the staff at the school, our secretary of the SRC in the high school, but this is on behalf of all of the students. She's made this little thing, and I think it's the perfect time to play it. This goes out to all our teachers from the student body.
Thank you to the teachers. We love and appreciate you.
Thank you to all of our teachers for your dedication and commitment.
Thank you.
Thank you, and we really appreciate everything you do for us.
Thank you. We love and appreciate you.
Without teachers, life would have no class. And I just really want to say thank you to the teachers. We really love and appreciate you.
A huge thank you to all of our teachers, especially Miss Prate, who's my mentor. She's been such a help and so supportive throughout this entire time. Also, a huge thank you to all of the ground staff who have been working non-stop to ensure a safe arrival for all of us.
Thank you. We love and appreciate you.
To our Red Hill teachers and our mentors, we'd like to thank you for all of your hard work. We know that there's a lot more time than just the normal school day. I don't believe any other school and any other teachers would have been able to do what the Red Hill teachers have done for us, and making sure that we as students don't lose out on the level of education that we have.
We love and appreciate you. To our teachers.
We love and thank our teachers so much for taking the time to support us. Thank you.
Thank you to all the teachers who have been working tirelessly throughout this whole month. We love and appreciate you very much.
We love and appreciate you.
I want to thank all of our teachers for all the work they've been doing for us during these tough times. The Red Hill community appreciates every single one of you. Once again, thank you so much.
Thank you so much to the most incredible teachers for being truly understanding and being very organized during this difficult period. We love and appreciate you so, so much.
A teacher plants the seeds of knowledge, sprinkles them with love, and patiently nurtures their growth to produce tomorrow's dreams. On behalf of our Red Hill student body, I want to thank all our hardworking staff members, management teams, ground staff, and Mr. Gerassi for your tireless efforts to create alternative means for us to continue learning during this pandemic. From us scholars, a heartfelt and massive thank you.
Oh wow, that was absolutely amazing, Thomas. I know that the staff that are listening into this really appreciate that. When I talk to the staff, the first thing they say to me about coming back, it's amazing. I talk to staff and I ask them, how do they feel about coming back? And I'm kind of expecting, I'm a little bit scared. I don't know what to expect. I'm worried about the virus. I haven't had one of those. All I've had was, I can't wait to see my students. And that just shows you what an incredible community we have at Red Hill. That appreciation from our students means a lot. And from me, on behalf of all of our students, we love you all, and we can't wait to be able to see you in our classrooms or to continue supporting you online. Thank you very much for that.
I want all privately owned radios to be immediately impounded.
For the students, by the students.
They might be used to issue instructions to saboteurs.
RedRadio. Oh my God, I can't believe it!
Okay, so we are not going to disregard any questions, and they are still coming through. Can students wear buffs?
Can students wear buffs? What is a buff?
I don't know if you've seen like fishing, like people with buffs.
Look, if it's something that they're using, I don't know, is it for warmth, Thomas?
I mean, I'm not too sure. I just know it's a piece of cloth stretchy cloth that you put over your face, and
yeah, you in terms of instead of a mask.
Instead of a mask, yeah.
Sure, I don't know. I'd have to ask Mrs. Kirsch that. If it's part of the regulations and it allows you to protect yourself and protect others, then go for it. Maybe we'll just have to deal with that on Monday when I see Mrs. Kirsch. Yeah.
Okay. And I know you probably haven't gotten to this yet, but if by the time exams roll around for grade 11s and 12s, if a student is still not coming back to school, by that point, will they have to come back to school to write an exam?
Look, for matrics, they would absolutely have to. There's no doubt about that, because as long as the minister has said that, matric students can go back to school, and as long as the IB is now requesting common core assessment tasks to be done, then yes, they would have to come in matric, definitely. Obviously, it helps if grade 11s are coming in, because we use a lot of that work towards matric. What I would say is, once again, for students who do have underlying health conditions that make it unsafe, please let your grade head know, and we will make sure that you come in at a particular time where there are not other students around, and that we can make sure that you are as protected as possible. But no, we cannot do online assessments, because there's no way of verifying that those assessments are accurate.
Will we be allowed to bring cell phones to school?
So you know what? It's one of those things. If I bring Sani tunnels, some people like it and others don't like it. If I say bring cell phones, some people will say yes, some people will say no. Look, at the end of the day, we've all got to just be. We got to use common sense. If I bring a cell phone to school, and I've cleaned it at home and I've made sure that I've used, the correct cleaning method, then it's okay. And if I'm a student and I don't want to get sick and I'm worried about it being dirty, then don't go and touch somebody else's cell phone. Don't touch anything of anybody else's, right? If you're going to want to be as safe as you can, stick to yourself, keep your hands to yourself, don't touch anything that's not yours.
Well, there we have it. I think we've gotten to all the questions. If we haven't, there is going to be the communication coming out this evening, so you can definitely stay for that one. Many of these questions we have, answered previously about matric dance and so forth. No clear stance on that yet. So we will definitely, as those things come available, it will be released by the school. Mr. Gerassi, I think, from the student body, from the parents, Red Hill has honestly taken it on themselves and gone above and beyond. I mean, the amount of times that I've chatted to some people within my school and siblings that go to different schools, Red Hill has honestly handled this much better than many other schools, and I think we have to commend you, we have to commend Mrs. A, Mrs. Kissack, Mrs. Pilkington Williams, all the teachers at Red Hill for truly incredibly having our best interests at heart, and I think we definitely thank you for that one.
No, Thomas, I appreciate that. The one person that I would like to thank more than anyone else is Mrs. Kirsch. Mrs. Kirsch is not in the forefront of things. She's not a head of school, but that entire operations, the health and safety of that campus lies completely in her hands with her team. So to her, to Johan, to all the people that work to ensure that we are safe at school, that educators are safe. I'd like to also thank them as much as I thank the teaching staff, to all the administration out there. They've done a good job. And, when you're saying what you're saying, it is true. We are the only school that I know of where all students are going to be given the opportunity to come back to school. And that has been a mammoth task. And for every parent that, wants to know why we didn't do it in a different way, I want you to try and imagine what it might be like to bring back a full campus of 1,350 odd students, giving everyone the opportunity to get back to school. It's been mammoth, but with the help of all of our staff, our admin staff, our academic staff, the support of the vast majority of our parents, and the love shown by our students, we will get through this. And I'm really looking forward to Monday.
Brilliant. Thank you so much to Mr. Gerassi. We have just gotten confirmation that no buffs are allowed to be worn. It is not.
Mrs. Kirsch must have been listening to this broadcast.
Well, there we have it. Thank you so much for joining us. Coming up on Red Radio, we have Taki and myself. We're going to be chatting to the Unfiltered Youth team, which is going to be absolutely incredible. We will be back in 2 weeks' time with you, Mr. Gerassi, for our next update. So definitely looking forward to that one. Thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned. Stay with us.
I do my head talk, check my thing. 10,000 hours and 10,000 more.
Nothing but non-stop Red Radio.
For the students, by the students.
If you want to improve your child's results and give them their confidence back, there is no better way than with a one-on-one tutor. Teach Me To has hundreds of South Africa's top university students ready to tutor your child in any subject from grades 1 to 12. Tutors can teach online or come to your house. Teach Me To is trusted by over 20,000 families. Red Hill parents can receive a free hour of tutoring with Teach Me To by SMSing Red Hill to 31777. SMS Red Hill to 31777 or visit teachme2.co.za to find out more. So, Rubber Duck, this is their new song, Talk About It. They're going to be live with us on Mayoka and Oratile's show this Monday, so you can definitely tune in to hear Rubber Duck. Coming up, 6 o'clock, we're going to be on with the Unfiltered Youth team. Stay tuned.
Now let it sink in. The day we start.